Hello and welcome to Foxumentary. My name is Fox. I like movies and I have too much of an opinion. And I also didn't go to college, so there's a joke there somewhere. This is my first video. I wanted to cover the Thunderbolts, released in May 2025. We saw it a day before it was supposed to release, and I have some thoughts. The Thunderbolts is basically a ragtag team of morally great characters unwillingly come together to save the day. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? It was directed by Jake Schreier. He previously is known for Paper Towns. The Thunderbolts stars Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, David Harbour, Wyatt Russell, Lewis Pullman, amongst others. Per IMDb, after finding themselves ensnared in a death trap, an unconventional team of anti-heroes must embark on a dangerous mission that will force them to confront the darkest corners of their past. This is the end of the Marvel Cinematic Universe Phase 5 following Captain America Brave New World. Going into this, after seeing the trailers, I had initially heard about it before, and while I loved the characters in Black Widow, I loved Yelena, and I loved David Harbour's Red Guardian, I wasn't sure if a movie could stand on its own, especially based on the comic book version of the Thunderbolts. From my research, I watch YouTube videos, that's about it. It had like the Red Hulk and other more than super soldiers. And then it kind of just turned into what the MCU made it, which was just a bunch of super soldiers. And I don't know, I wasn't too convinced of how good it would be, especially after so many of the more recent MCU movies being lackluster or really trying to be interesting, but not fully succeeding. Especially like Captain America Brave New World, the most recent movie before this. I liked it. I loved what they did for Sam here. I think they fully vetted him as Captain America, and I think that was so important. But overall, the movie was a little strange. It just felt like there was a lot of studio interference, kind of like how the previous newer phases of MCU kind of feel like the Marvels and Guardians. They don't really have that magic that old MCU had that I really liked, and I know other people did. But I can comfortably say that the MCU can come back if they keep following what they did with the Thunderbolts. I will actually start from here by saying there will be spoilers in this, when I think it's safe to say that some spoilers were already released by Marvel. So I'm just saying that just in case, if you are one of those people who are online like I try to be and just completely reject anything until I actually see it. At least I try my best. But this is called The New Avengers. Marvel just released that a few days ago. Not sure how I feel about the title, and how it connects to where the MCU will go and kind of what they did in Brave New World. It kind of felt weird. I'll kind of go into that, especially in connection with the end credit scene. But I think I got off track a little bit. Overall, first announcement, wasn't super excited. Then I saw the trailers, really liked it. And I'm really glad I got a chance to see it in theaters and didn't push it off like I had with movies previous to Brave New World. The Thunderbolts definitely gives older MCU vibes. Very good, character development, very good witty banter, funny jokes. I feel like a lot of them have become forced, but these were really good. And I think the relatability of all these characters was so important and really good. I think the standouts for this movie were Yelena and Alexei, Red Guardian. I just loved their characters. I loved them from Black Widow, and I like them now. David Harbour, I think, carries it. He has some really good moments in the movie where he has such emotional depth. And there's a scene in the movie where something happens. Two different scenes, but they're very similar. One where something happens to Yelena, and one that something happens to a little girl. And just the parallels to how he is a devastated dad in those moments. I almost cried. He was so good. And kind of going into like what happened in those scenes, those were so shocking. And I think this element of horror that was brought in with the introduction of the Sentry or Bob was wonderful. I think that is what they wanted Multiverse of Madness to be in the way of horror, and they just didn't fully succeed. Kind of going back to studio interference, and I don't fully think that the directors were in control or knew, I was gonna say know what they were doing, but it was Sam Raimi. He knows what he was doing. So there has to be some kind of studio interference in that regard. Anyway, that's a tangent. I just loved what they did with the Sentry and the Void. Yeah, and that's a spoiler too. But I loved that character. I thought that was going to be the weirdest one, especially because, like, I don't know how. I was just, like, in my head after watching the trailer, I thought that they were going to somehow connect the Sentry / the Void / the actor to Tom Holland Spider-Man. Peter Parker, because like they look so similar. I haven't seen many people talk about that, but they look similar. It's weird. Anyway, I know I've mentioned this a few times. The end credit scene, it basically all but announces that the Fantastic Four, which I think it's cool that the Fantastic Four will be phase 6, the beginning of. But then before that, they were talking about how Sam Wilson copyrighted the Avengers and didn't accept them as being the Avengers, which I almost feel like it kind of betrays the character of Sam Wilson without any further backup. Like, I don't think they should have mentioned that now, because we don't know Sam well enough. Like, we don't know why Sam would do that, and I just think it's a weird way to throw your character under the bus. It almost is how I feel with the end credit scene from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, where you're introduced to T'Challa's son, and it's almost alluding to him, I mean, probably most likely being in a Young Avengers, but like, it almost takes away from Shuri being the actual Black Panther, and I think they should have ran with it and not done any kind of cheap underwriting to her. That's almost how it feels. They kind of undercut Sam in that way, and it almost makes it feel like he's not actually Captain America in like legal corporate sense, but also like just that he's doing something like that almost out of nowhere as we, the audience, are experiencing it. And then it's kind of putting Sam in a bad light, which I don't think is a good idea to put your new Captain America. Okay, I could go into a whole spiel about that. I'm sorry. And then, this is a big spoiler, but it happens like 20 minutes into the movie. They killed off Taskmaster! I cannot express how upsetting that is. That character got the short end of the stick in Black Widow. It could have been so cool to keep a woman Taskmaster or developed her. Even there was like a small scene where her mask opens up and she says something to Yelena. And you're like, oh, that's really cool. She's in this and she actually speaks. So there's some kind of development that we didn't see off screen. Cool. But she's just so unceremoniously killed off. And yeah, that brings back to like maybe they could bring in a new Taskmaster. They could make it a guy. I think that's pointless. It could have been so cool to keep her in there. Overall, I highly recommend this one. I think this was a very strong note to end on, and I hope that the new MCU phase is stronger with the Fantastic Four. I would give the movie an 8 out of 10. I definitely think it was worth seeing in theaters if you can, supporting it. But yeah, that was my ramble, my review. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below what your opinions were. And if you have any more movie recommendations that you'd like me to check out, I will post what new movies will come out and what I will be seeing, and then I might do older movie reviews that are like on streaming or what I can find. I would just need those recommendations down below. But yeah, thank you for your time. Bye bye.